Every day, we see the darker side of the world around us. We witness how people can hurt others in ways that are hard to understand. It's a sad part of life, but it's something we can't ignore. As someone who dives into the world of crime, I'm here to share the most shocking stories and try to understand what drives people to do such things. I'm Michael, and today, I've got another unreal true crime story for you. July 28th, 2023, started like any other day for April Holt. She had her morning coffee, wrote in her journal, and spent time with her kids. But just hours later, everything would take a shocking turn. Her 7-year-old son, Denzel, later remembered hearing his parents arguing behind the bathroom door. He couldn't make out the words, but he knew something wasn't right. Then, suddenly, silence. A little while later, his father, Donovan, got him dressed, gave him breakfast, and then told him to check on his mom. What Denzel found that morning would change his life forever. When paramedics arrived, April was unresponsive. She was rushed to the hospital, but there was no brain activity. Her mother, Jamie, got there as fast as she could, desperate for answers. But what she heard didn't make sense. The police quickly ruled April's death as a suicide and closed the case. But Jamie refused to accept it. As she started looking into what really happened that day, she uncovered something shocking, something that would prove the truth was far from what the police had claimed. April Holt had just celebrated her 29th birthday in early July 2023. A native of Antioch, she had accomplished much in her young life. As an independent lash technician, she had taken a bold step by leaving her job to start her own business. She was proud of the life she had built, and she shared that pride with her online audience. "Happy 29th birthday to me," she wrote in a post. "I am blessed to experience another year of life. I have lived through more than 10,000 days." Above all else, April cherished her two children, 11-year-old Serenity and 7-year-old Denzel. She was an engaged and loving mother, frequently posting moments of joy with her kids. Her TikTok videos were filled with positivity, spirituality, and motivational messages, urging her followers to manifest the life they wanted. "I just pray this brings good energy to whoever sees it," she once said in a video. "Have an amazing day on purpose, be intentional, and remember, progress over perfection." But April's online presence wasn't just about inspiration. It also included raw and personal reflections. She spoke about the challenges she had faced, including her difficult experience with homeschooling, which left her feeling isolated during childhood. She had, however, found her way forward, embracing independence and growth in her teenage years. Her marriage to 33-year-old Donovan Holt was also a topic she occasionally shared. Their love story began as a friendship, which later turned into romance, marriage, and parenthood. April had Serenity as a teenager, and later, she and Donovan welcomed their son, Denzel. Their relationship had its ups and downs. They had gone through periods of separation, financial struggles, and even serious health concerns. But April always framed their journey as one of resilience, overcoming challenges and coming out stronger on the other side. April's social media had always been a mix of positivity, self-reflection, and raw honesty. In one of her last videos, she had spoken about struggling to stay afloat amid emotional turmoil. "Let's talk about how I'm going to fake it till I make it," she said in a post. "I put on lash extensions because I had a mental breakdown the other night and pulled all my lashes off. I think I can handle it. If not, I'm just crying for no reason." She went on. "I've been going through a lot lately, and I can definitely say I'm in a depressed state. I'm overwhelmed. I know I'm manifesting more negativity just by being in this space, so I have to pull myself out of it. I've done this before. This isn't the first time." When Jamie received word from detectives that the case was being closed, she was furious. They told her there was nothing further to investigate, that they had reached a final conclusion. She refused to accept it. "When they told me they were closing April's case, that everyone agreed to shut it down, I stood up, walked out of that room, and told them, 'I'm not done. I'm going to keep investigating.'" Jamie knew her daughter better than anyone. She knew April was strong. She was resilient. She would have never left her children behind, not by choice. Someone had taken her life, and Jamie was convinced she knew exactly who. 2 weeks before her death, April had filed for divorce. It wasn't the first time she and Donovan had reached a breaking point. Their marriage had been tumultuous, marked by struggles that had driven them apart before. Years earlier, they had separated for 3 years only to eventually reunite. In a video, Donovan addressed their split. "So, the story is, we're getting divorced. That's our decision. She's my best friend. I still love her to death. We've got a kid together, so we're still going to be around each other all the time. But right now, this is what's best for both of us." April nodded beside him, her expression unreadable. "This isn't a messy divorce. We don't need that. He's been my best friend before the relationship, before the marriage, before everything. So nothing's going to change that." Their relationship remained complicated. Though they had separated, they never fully cut ties. To the outside world, they maintained an image of unity, of friendship. But behind closed doors, things were not so simple. Had their second chance at love become another cycle of toxicity? Had their effort to rebuild only led to something far darker? Jamie was determined to find the truth. In their social media presence, April and Donovan often highlighted their ability to forgive, to communicate openly, and to grow both as individuals and as a couple. Their followers saw a relationship built on resilience and mutual understanding. But behind the scenes, cracks had begun to show. April rarely shared the darkest moments of their marriage on TikTok. However, in July 2023, things were different. This time she wasn't just considering separation, she was certain. She told her mother that she was done for good. There would be no reconciliation. Donovan seemed to have come to a decision of his own. Jamie later discovered that just a week before April's death, Donovan had pawned his wedding ring. In one of her videos, April playfully lip-synced to the viral audio clip. "I don't think I'm the drama. Maybe I am. Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain." Had she known how eerily relevant those words would become? On the morning of July 28th, the day she was found unresponsive, April followed her usual routine. She woke up, made coffee, and wrote in her journal. She kissed and hugged her 7-year-old son, Denzel. Then something changed. She and Donovan went into the bathroom, and an argument erupted. The details of their fight remain unknown, but Denzel heard his parents yelling. He pressed his ear to the door, trying to understand what was happening. Though the words were muffled, he could hear the tension in their voices. He crouched down and peeked under the door. He saw both of their feet. Then, frightened, he ran to his room. Moments later, Donovan came in. He got Denzel dressed, gave him something to eat, and then asked him to check on his mother. That was when Denzel discovered April unresponsive. 911 was called. By the time Jamie arrived at the hospital, the prognosis was grim. April had no brain function, no blood flow. For 6 agonizing hours, the full circumstances of what had happened were unclear. Then, Jamie learned something that made her blood run cold. April had been found with a plastic bag over her head. Meanwhile, Donovan had left the hospital twice, returning to their apartment for reasons unknown. On July 31st, 2023, April was officially pronounced dead. Jamie wasn't going to let her daughter's case be swept aside. She wanted justice. What followed was a battle that would consume the next phase of her life. With the Nashville police and DA's office reluctant to reopen the case, Jamie turned to the public. She reached out to local news outlets, prominent figures, and anyone with a platform who might amplify April's story. But it was an uphill fight. The case had already been officially closed, making it nearly impossible to gain traction. Local news stations ignored her requests. No mainstream outlet picked up April's story. Frustrated, Jamie took to social media. "I don't understand. Am I doing something wrong? It has been 14 months. Not one Nashville news channel has covered my daughter's case. Not Channel 2, not Channel 4, not Channel 7, not Channel 5. No one. I've even reached out to celebrities, and no one will even respond." But Jamie wasn't just campaigning online. She took matters into her own hands. She formally requested the full case file and scrutinized every detail. She filed a complaint with Nashville's Community Review Board, demanding accountability for how April's case had been handled. Her persistence paid off. Eventually, the Metro Nashville Police Department agreed to launch a second investigation. 4 months later, they returned with a 47-page report. But the conclusion remained unchanged. April's case would not be reclassified. No charges would be filed. Jamie had fought tirelessly, but justice remained elusive. Still, she refused to give up. The 47-page report may not have changed the official conclusion of April's case, but it provided something else: details. And Jamie was determined to scrutinize every last one of them. She pored over the report for hours, turning days into weeks, then months, as she tried to make sense of what little evidence she had access to. At the same time, Jamie remained focused on her grandchildren. She made sure that Serenity and Denzel received grief counseling and spoke openly about the emotional toll her daughter's death had taken on all of them. Nightmares haunted the children, leaving Jamie and her husband awake at all hours, comforting them through the long nights. As part of her healing journey, she channeled her pain into writing. She published a book, Grieving Through Grace, where she shared her bereavement process. But Jamie didn't just write about grief. She became a fierce advocate against domestic violence, using her experience to highlight its many forms. Abuse, she stressed, doesn't always look the way people expect. During this time, she also faced another painful struggle: keeping the children together. In the months after April's death, Donovan moved to Texas. He wanted Denzel to join him there. Jamie recalled the moment she had to take Denzel to see his father. "I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. And he didn't want to go either. He was crying, holding on to me, saying, 'Please, Grandma, I'll do anything to stay with you.'" She knew some had accused her of influencing the child's emotions, but she rejected that notion outright. Her already tense relationship with Donovan continued to unravel. Then, in April 2024, Jamie made a startling announcement. She had been placed under a gag order. She could no longer openly discuss her daughter's case online. Though her public advocacy had to pause, her pursuit of justice did not. Initially, investigators had claimed that April showed no physical signs of trauma. But Jamie, who had seen her daughter in the hospital, knew otherwise. There had been bruises. The autopsy confirmed them: marks on April's neck, thighs, and ankles. a deep gash on her inner thigh. And then, the most damning discovery. The plastic bag found over April's head had only one set of fingerprints. The duct tape securing the bag also had only one set of prints. Neither belonged to April. They belonged to Donovan Holt. Armed with this new evidence, Jamie confronted Donovan in September. During their conversation, he made a stunning confession. Jamie took the recorded admission straight to the police. Following this revelation, April's autopsy report was officially amended. The manner of death was reclassified as a homicide. On September 20th, 2024, the Metro Nashville Police Department announced that Donovan Holt had been arrested in San Antonio after confessing directly to detectives. A grand jury indicted him on charges of reckless homicide, evidence tampering, and false reporting. Donovan was extradited to Tennessee and held on a $75,000 bond, awaiting his arraignment on October 23rd. Once in custody, he spoke with investigators from the Nashville Cold Case Unit, confirming what Jamie had long suspected. He admitted that during an argument, he had strangled April in a fit of rage. Then, in an attempt to stage the scene, he dragged her into the shower, placed a plastic bag over her head, and taped it in place. Afterward, he calmly made lunch for their son. Only when Denzel had eaten did Donovan instruct him to check on his mother before calling 911. April's children remain in Jamie's care. She has shared that, while they are doing as well as can be expected, some days are harder than others. Through it all, Jamie has continued to thank her supporters for standing by her family. But her fight isn't over yet. Now she is calling for Donovan's charges to be upgraded. "I am fighting to get these charges increased. There is no reason this should be considered reckless homicide. It should be first-degree murder. Child endangerment should be added too," she declared. She has already gone through 2 district attorneys and is now waiting for a third to be assigned to the case. "I will not stop until the charges reflect the truth of what happened to my daughter." Thanks for tuning in to Unreal True Crime. If you're intrigued by mysteries from around the world, check out our new channel, Latin Crimes, where we dive into the gripping true crime stories of Latin America. Don't miss out. Subscribe now for more thrilling investigations.